Hey y'all, it's actually Bookishrealm and I'm back with another video. I have just this little bit of energy here. I don't know what it is. And so we go eat it up. Well, I can, because y'all know I'm always tired. I never have any energy, so I'm going to bask in it today. So as you can see from the title of this video, I am here to do my... Why is this camera so damn crooked? Okay, take two. we had to get some stuff situated. Okay, so as you can see by the title of this video, I am here to do my August reading plans. And so I have a lot to kind of go over. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. So I'm going to break this into different parts because I think it would just be easier if it's broken into different parts. I'm going to talk about stuff that I'm currently reading, which that's a lot because I'm indecisive and I have no sense of urgency to get done what I need to get done. I don't think I'm in a slump, but I felt like I was teetering on being in a slump if I didn't watch myself. So I'm in the middle of like 7 things because that just makes sense. It doesn't, but in my world and in my life, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. So we're going to talk about things that I'm currently reading, and then we're going to dive a little bit into the audiobooks that I probably will have lined up for August. We'll talk about the books that I have lined up for August, and then I will save the manga and the comics for last. And so some of this stuff, like the currently reading pile, some of this stuff I actually may finish before the month of July ends because of the fact that this is actually getting filmed before the month ends. I thought I would just go ahead and get this out the way because the month does end next Monday and I didn't want to wait to the last minute to put this up. So we'll go ahead and we'll dive into that stuff. As always, I'm not going to go into a super detailed explanation of everything because I just don't want this video to be excessively long and I don't want to have to edit a bunch of stuff out. Alright, so the first thing that I have here, y'all, once again, my goodness, the crickets, the cicadas, whatever, it rained today and they're still begging. But you know what, I'm not gonna even front this time around. Like, I feel that energy because it's so hot and we need some rain. But anyway, the first thing that I'm currently reading right now is Zom 100 Volume 2. This is Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. This is about a guy by the name of Akira, and he works at this job that literally sucks him dry until he happens to wake up and realizes that a zombie apocalypse has started, and so he can quit his job and not even think twice about it. And so he makes this bucket list and we follow him throughout the series as he completes items off of his bucket list. This one, the first thing that was on the bucket list was him wanting to, what did he say? He wanted to wine and dine a flight attendant, and it ended pretty roughly. This is definitely a graphic series. It is rated as older teen, and I can see why some people just are not really a huge fan of Zom 100, but I'm gonna keep sticking with it until I decide that I don't want to stick with it anymore, and I'm checking it out from the library anyway. So I did start A Taste for Magic by JL. I didn't get that far in. I'm probably about 20 or 30 pages into this, and I want y'all to know that the magic in this book starts like at the beginning. There is no build up for the magic. Like, we literally are thrown into magic the same way the main character is, and I don't know how I feel about that just yet because her family kind of low-key knew that they were expecting her to get these magical abilities. She didn't know. But yeah, so I'm not that far into it. I don't want to give too much away because I'm not that far into it, but I don't think that this one is going to take me long to read. This does come out, I believe, August 30th, so I have plenty of time to get this one done. I don't think I'm going to finish it by the end of the month, but at least I've made a kind of a start to it. I also did start my read of Fresh Ink, the anthology that I had put on my July reads. I honestly think that I'm going to finish this one probably by the end of the month because I'm trying to do a story a day. And the first one that I read was Erase Your Tattoo by Jason Reynolds, which it's Jason Reynolds. Like, what can I say? But of course, like with any anthology, like your mileage is going to vary. There are going to be stories that you're going to enjoy, stories that you're not going to enjoy. So I've only read one here. I think my goal probably is going to be to at least read 2 or 3 a night, because that'll take me through to Monday to have that finished by the end of July. But I still am including it on here just in case, because it is something that I'm currently in the middle of reading. I also started How to Love a Duke in 10 Days, which is the first in the series by Kerrigan Byrne. This is my first Kerrigan Byrne historical romance. This has I just had to put this content warning in here because I wouldn't have known about it had I not checked out some reviews before picking this one up. This has a very graphic rape scene, and like, because I'm only 32 pages in, and it happens in the kind of like the prelude of the book, which is 10 years before we get into the story. So first 20 pages in this book, we get a pretty heavy and graphic rape scene. So I would be mindful of that when you're stepping into this. I was really bothered by it, unexpectedly bothered by it, and I felt for the main character, but I think that the story is going to develop in an interesting way. But I can already tell like the PTSD that is a part of her life because of that. Like, you see that from chapter 1. So I'm interested to see how Kerrigan Byrne is going to develop her as a character and what this relationship is going to look like because of the fact that she is a rape survivor. So I am taking my time with this one. It is a thick one because it's over 400 pages, but so far so good. I also started the second book in the Bad Guys book. These don't take me long to read at all. I'm 38 pages into this one. This literally will take me 30 more minutes to finish. So while I am putting this as currently reading, this will be done before July is over with. But that goes to say that I did put the third book in the series on hold from my library. I don't know when it's going to come in because it felt like there was a pretty significant hold list when I went to go put it on hold. So I don't know if I will get to the third book in August. It just depends on when I get a copy on my hands, or in my hands, not on my hands. If y'all don't know anything about the Bad Guys, it literally is these group of animals. It's a wolf, a piranha, a snake, and a shark who are classified as the bad guys. And so they try so hard to become good guys. But I mean, when you're predators and you're trying to save animals that are not, or typically are attacked by you, things just don't go well. And so we continue their shenanigans in this one, except we have a new character that's introduced, and it's a spider. And it's funny, I was laughing so much when I read the first part of this because the spider like scares the crap out of the shark. And so the wolf is kind of like, come on, man, like, you got to be kidding me. Like, you're a full-blown shark and you tell me you're scared of a spider? It is hilarious. The artwork is so great. I don't want to show you anything because I don't want to spoil it, but if you have any young ones that you do like read alouds with, this is a good series for both caregivers and little ones, because I definitely can see a caregiver like enjoying reading this to a child, and because I'm enjoying it as an adult. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Another one that I started that I'm not far into is Sea Fire by Natalie C. Parker. I don't know why I picked this up. I literally don't know why. I literally just saw it, and I know that this was big when it was first released because it's a trilogy about pirates. And so I saw it at work and I was like, I guess I'll read it. I feel like it's an older YA title. Well, not really that old. It's only 4 years old. Came out in 2018, but YA typically like does not have good standing power, is what we call it, meaning that it circulates when it comes out, it's hot when it comes out, and it's hot until it's not. Unless you're one of the bigger names in YA, these usually kind of stay on the shelf after about a good year and a half. And so I just saw it and I was like, it might be interesting. About 20 pages in, it follows a young girl who is a part of this world where they're trying to escape this evil human, and her family and some other families are essentially living on a ship, and they try to escape and get away from this guy. And unfortunately, this is not a spoiler, it's in the summary. Unfortunately, her whole family gets killed. And so the part that I'm in, it's 4 years later, and she is trying to, I think, eventually get her own type of revenge and take down this guy's army. So that's where I'm at. Usually these don't take me very long to read, but we'll see how it goes. And if I decide to continue with it, I don't want it to be a DNF. I mean, it's not feeling like a DNF or anything like that, but we'll see where it goes. And the last thing that I have here, which I don't have the dust jacket on, is Woman of Light. This was on my July reading plans. I started this one. I'm taking it slow. I'm only about 10 pages into it, so I don't anticipate finishing this one before July is over with. It is a slow read. I can already tell that it's going to be a slow read, and from what I've seen in the reviews, this is not as much as of a generational story as I thought it was going to be, so I'm kind of nervous about that just a little bit. I'm actually really nervous about it not being a generational story, but we'll see how the rest of the story ends up going. It's okay so far. All right, so here are the list of things that I have not started that I do want to pick up in August. Some of these are going to be, I'm going to show you the ones that are actually bleeding over from July because I didn't get the chance to pick them up, and that's going to include The Merciless Ones by Namina Forna. I did not get to this, and the reason why I didn't get to this is because I realized I need to reread The Gilded Ones. Like, your girl tried to make things happen with it. I have to reread The Gilded Ones. It's been too long, and I said that before, but I wasn't sure. I was like, well, maybe I can just get away with just diving into this one. I gotta read. I gotta reread The Gilded Ones. So technically I'm adding The Gilded Ones and The Merciless Ones to this list. I'm hoping to get them done, but there's no way. I can't pick that one up without reading the first one again. There's no way, unfortunately. And the second one that I have that's rolling over from last month is going to be Private Label by Kelly Yang. Once again, I actually have it. Okay, so I said that this was the last Kelly Yang book that I needed to read before I can say that I've read everything that she's written, but I actually have the picture book too that I needed to read by her, which is Yes We Will, Asian Americans Who Shaped This Country. So I have these two. I mean, this I could really knock out after I get finished filming this, but these are the last two that I have of hers that I need to read. She actually has a new one coming out in September, which is the 4th book, I think, in the Front Desk series. So look for that in September because I'm going to be reading that. I also have Black Cake shifting over from July. I didn't get the chance to pick this one up at all, so this is going to remain. I wonder if I should do something along the lines where after a book sits on a reading plans video for so long, if I don't read it, I have to unhaul it because I can't keep all these books and I have not read them. Like, that's not going to continue to work. But Black Cake is still on there. Just so y'all know, but you will see this in the recent reads that's going to come out this week, which is 2 weeks worth of recent reads, and you'll see that when I talk about my favorite and most disappointing books of July. I did end up reading quite a few physical books off of my TBR, so I'm proud of that. Was it necessarily everything that I had set out to read in terms of like what I had talked about in July? No, but I am getting that TBR down again, which is what I'm happy about. So, for example, I have a book here that I want to continue. It's the 3rd book in the series, and that is the Attractions and Distractions series by Alexandra Warden. This is junior year, so each year follows our main characters Alexis and Jaden in alternative perspectives. These are super quick reads. I read book 1 and 2 this month, and so I don't think I'm gonna get to book 3 this month. I was hoping that I was gonna be able to finish out all 4 books this month, but I just don't think it's gonna happen. Although these books typically take me like a day or 2 to read, I just have so many other things that I'm trying to get done before the end of the month, so I thought I would add this one. But it's 2 books in the series that I physically own that I read off of my physical TBR, so I'm very, very proud of myself. But we'll talk more about the series as I do my July favorites, disappointments, etc. Another series that I'm hoping to get to in August, I don't know, considering like the stack that I have, there's actually 2 series on here that I don't know that I'm necessarily going to get to physically, all of it physically before the end of the year, but I do at least want to start the series. The first one that I have is, I can't even remember the name of the series. Why can I not remember the name of the series? This is so sad, y'all. I can't remember the name of the series, but it's by Christina C. Jones. It was a high stakes series. See, I knew that if I thought about it long enough, I would figure it out. This is a high stakes series by Christina C. Jones. It includes Annie Up, King of Hearts, and Deuces Wild. So I actually have already read Annie Up. I read this one last year and really enjoyed it because I had been so used to Christina C. Jones writing very much so contemporary romance. This one is definitely a darker romance, much grittier, and I didn't know how her writing style would translate over to kind of a different subgenre, but of course she knocked it out the park. Why was I even worried? Because of course she was going to do a great, job with it. These take place in Vegas, and it follows our 2 main characters by the name of Asha and and King. I was going to say, I know it's King. Asha and King, and they both have such tragic past that they essentially are, so they play poker, right? But what's so beautiful about the series is that they literally play poker with each other. I should say figuratively, not literally. They figuratively play poker with each other in terms of their emotions. So there is that physical element of the game, but also this mental and emotional element. And so they kind of have to work around learning to trust each other, which is hard because they both come from such difficult past. But it's been a while since I've read this, so I'm excited to reread it. And someone had gifted me a copy of this one, and so I was like, ooh, I want to read the novella, but I want to do a reread of the first book, then dive into the novella, and then finally pick up the last book in the series, which, y'all, these covers are gorgeous. These covers are so gorgeous. I'm so excited to dive back into this world again. And the last one that I have that's a series is one that I have not revisited in a very long time. It's been a while since I've read the first 2 books in the series, and that is the Cartel series by Ashley and Jaquavis. I have read book 1 and 2. I owned book 3, which I may need to go back and look at my reviews and do just a quick refresher of books 1 and 2. And then I recently was at a bookstore and I did not realize that they had been selling these Cartel Deluxe editions, and so there's book 4 and 5 in this bind up. Instead of me having to pay for each one of these individually, it was nice to get both of these books for a cheaper price. And so this is Street Lit. If you didn't know, I loved this series is wild. I am actually in the middle of also reading Ashley Antoinette's series Ethic, and so I need to pick up book 2. I think Deidre and I had just talked about, she has read Ethic 2. She read Ethic 2. I haven't yet, but I'm excited to dive into it and pick it up. But I also need to catch up on the Cartel series. I believe that this is complete. We should have 7 books in the series, although originally this book 3 was supposed to be the conclusion. We do have 7 installments in the series. So when I do finish book 3, 4, and 5, I will then go ahead and pick up the rest of the books in the series. These books are really quick. I know it looks like a lot because this book looks kind of thick, and then I have this one, but they're really not that long and they read super fast. Ashley Antoinette for me has very accessible writing. I really like what she does in terms of her storytelling, especially in terms of like Street Lit. And then her and her husband, because Jaquavis is her husband, they write some really great books together, and so they create some really great books together. So I'm excited to be diving back into this world. If you've never read The Cartel, child, you missing out. I don't know what to tell you, you missing out. The next one that I have is there's a lot of like magical school books coming out this year, or maybe I've just read a lot of magical books this year. I don't know. It seems to be kind of a thing happening in middle grade and YA this year. I was sent a copy of How to Succeed in Witchcraft by Aislinn Brophy. I'm probably saying her name wrong. This comes out in September. This is about a young girl by the name of Shay Johnson, who is at a magical magnet school. And so I'm sure there's going to be some interesting elements that happen in this story. I heard that this one is kind of a perception of, or I don't want to say perception. It is a recreation of our world just with magic. And so I wonder how heavy the social commentary is going to be in this one. I feel like it's going to be kind of heavy-handed, but I'm looking forward to reading it and seeing what I think of it. So I can pace myself a little bit better with this one because it doesn't come out till September, but I still need to get it read because I think I have another book coming from Penguin that I need to get read that also comes out in September. And the last physical book that I have here is, I've been reading a lot of children's like chapter book series lately, outside of not middle grade, but children's chapter book series, especially like transitional books. And so one that I recently ordered myself and thought that it would be interesting to pick up the series was Dragon Girls. I don't know much about this. This one is Asmina and the Gold Glitter Dragon by Maddie Mara. Kids love these. And so I was like, okay, I like Wings of Fire. That's more middle grade though. It's a middle grade dragon fantasy series. This is definitely more so on the children's end. This appeals to second graders, third graders ish. I should say like these scholastic paperbacks, usually the age range is anywhere from second to fourth grade. And so I wanted to check out more of a children's series, a chapter book series that focus on dragons. And I think that we are going to get some additional books in the series. I think right now I know that 6 are out, but I think we should be getting a book 7 and a book 8 relatively soon. I should probably check that tomorrow, to be honest. I mean, it's work related stuff, but I should check that. But I did want to read this one because I had seen such a high interest in it in terms of like circulation. So that's one that I'll be adding. We're almost done, I promise you. Like, there's no reason why any type of reading plans video should be this long, but here we are. Okay, so in terms of audiobooks, I am not going to talk about anything that is due within like the next week because that's the end of July. I'm not thinking about that. And I'm also not going to necessarily go over what these books are about. I just want you to know what's on my radar in terms of audiobooks in the next couple of weeks. So I'm looking at anything that has a due date of like, I would say 12 days or higher. So I do have Ruth Ware's The It Girl is one that I do want to listen to. I finally got a copy of Will Smith's autobiography. I thought I was never going to get that book. I finally got a copy of it. I have Watergate, which is a history of Watergate. This one is pretty long. It's 25 hours long, but I'm looking forward to picking that up. I also have Bet on It by Jodie Slaughter. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to that one releasing. I have Healer of the Water Monster. All right, so that's it for the audiobooks. The last thing I'm going to run through, no explanation really, is the manga and comics that I have lined up. I am supposed to still be doing this 30 and 31, or 31 and 31. I'm super far behind and I don't know if I'm going to reach my goal this month. I still have plenty of time to do it if I pace myself right, but that's if I pace myself right. So we're not going to worry about that now. I'm just going to show you the volumes. I do have volume 2 of Days of Love at Seagull Villa. This is a series that I just decided to start picking up. I read volume 1 this past month and really did enjoy it. It's a Yuri manga. I, of course, have Sweat and Soap volume 4. I don't think I'm going to get to this. These are not books, or these are not volumes that I plan on getting to for July. These are genuinely going to be August because I have so many other volumes that I need to finish by the end of July. The Fight Island, volume number 2. I have been holding back on reading this because I didn't want the series to end and it's only 2 volumes, but here we are. I need to read it because I can't hold on to it forever. This is a flow over from July, which is For the Kid I Saw in My Dreams, volume number 2. I read volume 1 and gave it 4 stars, so I thought I would pick up volume 2 from the library. I have volume number 16 of Food Wars. I need to continue my reread. One of my goals this year was to read at least 5 volumes of Food Wars and 5 volumes of Nana. The Promised Neverland volume number 2. It's been a while since I read volume 1, but volume 1 was so good. It was a 5-star read for me, and I own volume number 2, so hey, I need to read it. In terms of, wait, hold on, I have a couple more volumes here. Okay, never mind. I also have volume 2 of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, which I'm gonna see how I may drop this one. I haven't decided yet. I read volume 1 and thought it was okay. It was like a 3-star read for me. It's not one that I will collect because I don't feel strongly enough about it, and my library does purchase the volumes, so I didn't feel the need to collect this one. And the way that the story is going, I definitely am not going to collect it, but I'm going to read this volume and see whether I want to keep it or drop the series. Like, this is going to be the determining factor for me, but we'll see what happens there. I have Laid Back Camp volume 3. I'm going to read this volume and then I'm going to make the decision on this one whether I want to collect it or not. I really enjoyed volumes 1 and 2, but I want to give it one more volume before I start picking them up and collecting them for my own personal collection. In terms of comics, I have some interesting ones. Some of these I have read some single issues from, and one is completely new. It's only 4, but I do have some on Hoopla that I'm going to read. I'm not going to go over those today. I have Batman Urban Legends Volume 1. I am really behind on Batman Urban Legends. Volume 3 is about to drop soon. This follows the events of Joker War. It just follows the adventures of some of the most iconic characters from Gotham. And so I think that some people like these, some people don't. This first one has Red Hood Cheer, which is one story, and then Grifter the Long Con, which is another story. And so, like I said, I have not been keeping up with this. I didn't read the single issues of this one when it came out, which means I am very behind on that one. I have Nuclear Family, which is my personal copy. I believe I've read issue 1 and 2 of Nuclear Family, but this is the complete volume, which has issues 1 through 5. So I've only read it. At most, I've only read 2 out of the 5 issues of this one, and it's good. I don't want to say anything about Nuclear Family because it's one of those that you really should go into pretty much blind, because let me tell you, the story is pretty interesting. I'm still in the plastic wrap because I've just been so afraid to take it out of the plastic wrap because I'm so excited to read it. And that's Joker Volume 1 by James Tynion IV. I have read these as single issues. However, Volume 2, which I haven't been keeping up with as single issues, I have been really heavily waiting on stuff to come out as trades. And because I don't have the space to do the single issue thing right now, maybe I'll be back to collecting single issues when I get a bigger space. But for right now, I am looking at trades and, you know, buying those trades and collecting them. But I want to reread this because Volume 2 comes out soon. And if y'all have not read Joker by James Tynion, I don't know what you're doing. And if you've been a part of this channel, you know how much I not only love James, but how much I freaking love Joker. And the last thing that I have on here, Future State Justice League. I've read some of this stuff out of this. I believe I read Future State Aquaman and Future State Justice League. I don't think I've read Future State Flash or Future State Green Lantern, which is an important part of the story. We are deep into the throes of Future State and Infinite Frontier. I actually have a copy of the bind-up of Infinite Frontier on my shelf over there, and so I do want to read this because I haven't read all of the single issues in this one. I do have Wonder Woman Future State, and I have Batman Future State, one of the Batman Future State volumes, which I've read one. I've read Dark Detective. So I read Future State Dark Detective. I haven't read the Future State Batman that I have over there, and I don't think I read that as single issues either. So if I finish this one in enough time, I may pick up the Future State Batman, but we'll see how that goes. I really want to start making sure I'm also reading my physical comics, because I read a lot of digital comics because Hoopla is a gift. It's such a gift, but I do need to be making sure that I'm mindful of that space over there that y'all can't see. It's a lot of stuff. All right, y'all, so that is it. If that wasn't a lot of stuff, like it was a lot of stuff. It's a whole lot of stuff. It's a whole lot of stuff, but we will see what happens next month. As always, let me know in the comment box below what you plan on reading for the month of August, if you have anything lined up, if there's anything rolling over from July to August. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. If you're looking for ways to support the channel, the links will be down in the description box below, as well as ways to follow me on other social media platforms. All right, y'all.